Happening now, the hunt is still on for an inmate who has escaped in Albuquerque.
Yeah, take a look at this. Police and sheriff's deputies are still looking for the man on the left there. His name is Brandon Davis. The MDC says he and the other man, Andreas Macias, were in a transport van. They were on their way back to the MDC from court yesterday when the van stopped at UNMH to pick up another inmate. The van looks like one of these. That's when the MDC says Davis and Macias kicked out the van's back door and took off running. Now, because the two were in court, they were wearing regular clothes, not the orange jumpsuits, but they were handcuffed, we are told. Investigators say they caught up with Macias at his home last night, but again, they are still looking for the other man, Davis. Now, we know he's been in trouble with the law since 2005 for everything from child abuse to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. We are told Davis tested positive for drugs, and that's why he was going back to jail. If you see him, please call police. Lake Little League Park in the northwest part of Albuquerque could be getting a home run worth of improvements later today.
Yes, Bernalillo County Commissioners will be meeting tonight to decide whether to approve over $500,000 to go toward improvements. Our News 13's David Romero is live near the Paradise Hills Little League Park with details. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, if it's approved, this area that you see behind me, which has been used as a soccer field, could be turned into 2 new baseball fields for the Little Leaguers that come out here. And of course, the current 3 baseball fields and T-ball area in this park were constructed over a decade ago. This is all here in the 16.5-acre area. In that time, upkeep has been somewhat of a challenge, and Little League teams expanding hasn't left much room for them to play. Now, the park serves kids living in the Paradise Hills and surrounding Ventana Ranch neighborhoods. Money for the project is coming from several places, such as the capital outlay money approved by the state last year, the city of Albuquerque, and the Little League teams themselves. They've also raised some cash. The grand total for the project comes out to about over $662,000.
Probably any one entity could not do this project by itself, but coming together, we're pooling our resources to make this happen.
And again, if it's approved at tonight's meeting, the construction on the park won't start until after the Little League season has wrapped up for spring, and that should be sometime around June 17th, and that should take them all the way until October or mid-October to complete it. Elizabeth, back to you.
Okay, David, thank you. Kids won't be the only ones coming out ahead on this deal. Parents will get some more parking out of it as well. Tonight, Bernalillo County Commissioners are expected to talk about raising the minimum wage for the county. The move could raise the minimum wage to $8.50 an hour. An Albuquerque city ordinance has already been put in place in the city of Albuquerque. While some people are praising the idea, the New Mexico Business Coalition has been passing around a petition opposing it. They say it could put more people out of work and keep businesses from hiring more employees. City and county firefighters are working on a new system that they hope will help them respond to emergencies in Albuquerque much faster.
Right now, they are just testing this, but it's to help solve a problem that we told you about last year. It's that sometimes the closest firefighters cannot respond to an emergency because they're in the county and the emergency's in the city and vice versa. But this test program virtually erases those boundaries.
If an incident happens in the city and the county happens to have a fire station that's closer with available resources, those resources will be dispatched first. Same thing goes for the city.
Makes a lot of sense there. So once they're done with this 30-day test, firefighters will evaluate the program and try to find a way to make it work here. Well, it looks like we will not be hearing much about the case of a former Albuquerque police officer who's accused of killing his wife until his trial. Yesterday, a judge decided to seal all the motions for Levi Chavez's case. It's where prosecutors say he killed his wife Tara in their home in Los Lunas back in 2007, then made it look like a suicide. However, the judge did not decide if something Tara told her friends before she died can be used at the trial. It's when she said if something ever happened to her, that Levi did it.
And I think it's important to ensure that the fact that she's saying that, along with the fact that she's giving people information that she's worried about, what she has done.
There's been a lot of junk and a lot of crap about this case. This has been my experience in many cases, that the state puts out wild theories, and that when the case gets to trial, the jury finds out that that's not what the case is about at all.
Levi Chavez is supposed to go on trial this June. Well, investigators in Española are trying to figure out why a man killed his ex-girlfriend yesterday. Police say Sergio Gandara here shot and killed his ex-girlfriend, Janeth Bojorquez, then killed himself. It happened at the intersection of North Coronado and Spruce Street. If you know anything about the two, police would like to hear from you.
A Rio Rancho woman and her boyfriend are heading to court for the death of the woman's 18-month-old son. A grand jury indicted Chelsea Villalpando and her boyfriend David Clark for child abuse resulting in death yesterday. First responders said the boy had obvious signs of trauma back in 2011. Villalpando and Clark both claimed that the child fell and hit his head on a speaker.
A scientist at Sandia National Labs is developing a very tiny device that could save people's lives by detecting dangerous things such as anthrax. Jason Harper is working on a small tester that is very thin there. It's about as thick as just 4 credit cards. Last week, someone sent letters laced with poison to President Obama and a U.S. Senator. You probably remember hearing about that. Well, it took a few days to confirm it was ricin, but Harper says his device here would confirm it pretty much immediately. It probably won't be ready for another 2 or 3 years, but when it is, it's going to cost just $3. Pretty good stuff there. And scientists in Los Alamos might have an international job on their hands. They've been asked to analyze possible problems with the famous Brunelleschi Dome on top of the Cathedral of Florence. It's almost 500 years old, but it's cracked, and there are some fears that a big earthquake could actually topple it. Lano has technology to look inside of the dome to see exactly what's going on and make a model to show what would happen if there was a major quake. Now the lab and the cathedral are looking for money to go ahead and pay for the project. They do some amazing things up there.
Yeah, that
and
is
even
good
that
news for
credit card
Lano.
device.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially remember those deadly anthrax attacks that happened back in 2001. Would have been nice to have it then.